And welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters Toronto. We have our first finalist, Flash, in his first finals at an Intel Extreme Masters. How excited does that make you? So we've got our second semi-final to see who he's gonna play. Another best of 5. 2 crazy nerd ballers about to do battle. Are you guys ready? I need a little more ready than that. How ready are you? That sounds pretty ready. Our first player from Korea, 17 years old, 7 StarCraft championships already. He is the young Zerg prodigy and maybe the future Flash. From StarTale, Life. And his opponent, former GSL champion, recent Pro League winner, and possibly the best Protoss on planet Earth, KT roster Zest.
So here we go, second semi-final, and we're down to just 3 players in the Intel Extreme Masters in Toronto, and all 3 of them, unfortunately for us, in a weird kind of European-American way, none of them are American Koreans or European Koreans, they're all Korean Koreans.
That's unfortunate.
Well, just in the sense that
isn't that how it should be?
We can't celebrate anything. We can't even cling on to the coattails of people like Tasia, who we've sort of claimed for ourselves. It's definitely one of the Koreans who have played in GSL and Pro League that is going to win this thing, and
yep.
It just shows that they are a class above everyone else right now.
Yeah, that practice in Korea, that concentrated environment where they get so many consistent games in, being able to live with their teammates, it makes such a big difference.
You think that's all it is?
I mean, are you asking?
Practice? I mean, yeah, no.
Are you asking me if like they're genetically different? Like if there's some sort of Korean implant that makes you?
Well, I think we know that there is with Flash. I mean, I think that we already know that one. But yeah, I mean, in general, it's a really interesting topic to weigh up because we saw Snoot have a great tournament. He got to the last 8 in a very stacked tournament. I think that's a great achievement. We saw Bunny taking down Korean players as well and having a great tournament. But where are they now? When we got down to the meat of the tournament, the last 4, we haven't got anyone. And even Tasia, who has had a fabulous year again, 3 years in a row, he's won 11 tournaments, and he can't bring these guys down either. So there must be something else that's just, I don't know, inherently different about the guys that are playing in the Korean leagues right now, or something that they have that the others don't.
Yeah, and I'm not really sure that. It's a very weird subject because in order to speak with any sort of confidence, you would basically have to spy on these guys for like a month straight.
Good idea, Kev. I think we install GoPros in the KT roster house right now. I'm sure they'll let us. We're going to get into map vetoes in a moment. Life's a cool, calm, collected customer for a 17-year-old that's got multiple titles behind him.
Yeah, and also had a lot of recoveries as well. So when it goes into a long series like this, best of 5, even best of 7 potentially, going very, very far deep into a tournament, I think this is where Life shines best, shines greatest. Even if he goes down 2 maps in this series, you still can't count him out because, sadly, he does find a way.
Yeah, he
sadly.
does.
Wait, you don't want him to win?
I say it because I was trying to avoid the Jurassic Park thing as much as possible. You don't get it.
What? No, I don't.
Life finds a way.
Just let it go. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just let it go.
Kevin!
Sorry,
okay.
I don't understand culture.
It's fine.
All I know is StarCraft.
2 guys that do know StarCraft very well, currently in their booze after the map vetoes. In terms of the way they've got to this semi-final, we joked around a little bit yesterday. I hope Sasquatch is watching now because it's all your fault. If any of the players want to write to him and complain, he was the guy that dropped out and allowed Life to take his place as the first reserve. And Life should be sending him some winnings or something, I think, at the end of this tournament.
I think if Nanny was at this tournament, he probably would have offered Sasquatch money just to attend and hold that spot. He'd be like, Sasquatch dropped out, Life replaced him. Like, no, Sasquatch, here's $500. Just come to the tournament. And you can see he's gone very far. This has happened, a couple of times here and there throughout StarCraft history. Is like there's a whole lineup of players, and that last guy who gets in, 2 days before the tournament ends up winning it or going incredibly far.
Yeah, that happens often.
Yeah, we've talked about Zest. We talked about him earlier today. Of course, beat Yoda in the quarterfinal this morning, and we know all about his previous records in GSL. Let's talk about life in terms of the way that he's got to this final. He's 11-1.
Yep.
Best record of any player right now in the Intel Extreme Masters Toronto. His victories: Scarlet, Revival, Snoop, Stardust, MC, and First.
Yep.
In any other tournament, he would already be holding a trophy.
Yes.
But he's still got 2 more to go.
And none of those players, to me, have been at the caliber of Zest.
That was my next question, because he's played some, I would argue, some world-class Protoss players. I mean, Stardust has shown he's won a WCS this year. He's played superbly. He's won more than, he's won his 2nd title. MC has also won a WCS this year. We know how tricky he can be. I mean, you said yourself he has more tricks in the bag than any other Protoss out there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's also beaten First as well. What does he have to do to prove himself to you, Kalaris?
Life? Life already proved himself to me long
Kalaris,
ago.
why don't you think that Life is like the best Zerg
All
right
right,
now?
Kevin.
What-
All right.
What's going on here? What?
Life can hear you, I'm pretty sure. He's like laughing at Kalaris.
No, he cannot. All right, so no. Hey, if you recall before,
Is
I
it because
actually
he
said,
lost one map? Is that why you're not impressed?
Yeah, he lost to
Yes, I'm a
Scarlet.
perfectionist.
Yeah,
All right.
lost to Scarlet, man.
So yesterday, I did say that I thought Life might actually make it to the finals.
Okay.
To
Yeah.
justify myself
All right.
in this
Okay.
argument, but now I'm changing it.
Right. Has anyone got a shovel in the audience? Because I think we need to dig Kalaris a nice deep hole here for him.
No, that's fine. I'm
Wait,
changing
so
it.
you-
It doesn't matter.
You think
Okay.
Life is going to lose to Zest?
Yes, now I think he's going to lose.
Wow.
Just now.
I'm changing from
Okay.
one day to the next, and now he's going to lose.
And what prompted that?
Intuition.
Are you just
Okay.
a wishy-washy?
My predictions have been good.
They have, but enough now. Money
All right.
on the line. Kevin?
Life 3-1.
Kalaris.
3.
Stop thinking about it. Just go. Trust your heart.
3-1.
You were just talking about your intuition, and then you're all, well, yeah, well.
I changed from one day to a next. That was okay.
Boys,
It's fine.
boys, enough. You can carry this on in a moment, but we need some commentators to bring some match action to us. Let's go over to the caster's desk.
Thank you, Paul. And yeah, this is a match I think is probably very torn as far as predictions go for most people across the board. Zest was one of my favorites coming in. I figured if I had to pick one player from each race, as far as the Korean players go, I liked Life, I liked Zest, and I liked Flash. Somehow, there are the 3 players left in this tournament right now.
It all makes sense, Nate. And these two, actually, they faced twice in the past. Around 10 months ago, the Intel Extreme Masters New York was going to take place. There was a Korean qualifier in which Zest impressed a lot of people. Some of the Zergs that he beat in this qualifier were Bjorn, Savage, and Czech. And I remember being like, oh my god, like this guy is actually insane. So I took a look at his games, and back then he was a little bit of a one-trick pony. He had this one build against Zerg where you go for Stargates into Colossus into a 3rd base, with which he was beating everybody with. Then he meets Life in the group stage, loses twice to him, and he's knocked out of the tournament from the group stage. So definitely wanna be taking a revenge here if he can.
Yeah, I think these are just 2 awesome players that have, as you said, played in the past, but one of them will have to face Flash in the grand finals of the Intel Extreme Masters Toronto in the bottom right position. The blue Zerg representing StarTale. He is Life. Of course, an Intel Extreme Masters champion in his own right. He did win that tournament in New York. His opponent in the top left position, the red Protoss from KT Rolster. He is Zest.
So I've talked about how Zest used to like to go for that one build with the Phoenixes into Colossus. These days, he mixes it up a lot more. He just beat Solky twice in the GSL group, which literally happened 2 or 3 days before this tournament. So he came straight, basically. Like, he was at the GSL studio, he advanced, he's like, let's go to Toronto, let's try and win a tournament. He flies here. And now this is the first Zerg he's going to be playing here in life. He's only played Terrans so far in this tournament.
Yeah, really crazy, especially considering how much success the Terrans have recently been having versus Protoss players. But
I'm glad finally.
That's also, even I notice things like that sometimes. But you bring up something that's very important, I think, for everyone to keep in mind. Zest played his GSL group and then pretty much got straight on a plane to come over here. You're a pro gamer yourself, Todd. You know that traveling a lot, especially on short notice like that, or I guess having short periods of time to rest, can make preparation for tournaments like this very difficult.
Yeah, he doesn't seem too bothered though. He adjusted very quickly, and he's been playing really, really well. Looks like he's going to open with a Nexus 15 here in the first map on King Sejong Station. It's going to be followed by a Gateway. Very, very strong opener on this map. Very few direct counters. Life is one of those Zergs that will mix in sometimes some very good Zergling attacks early on with like pull 9, pull 10, any pull really. So it was a little bit risky, but I guess I'm not going to say he's getting lucky because he's going to face the double hatch before pull. And I don't think that Life usually takes a gas with this, but Life is also one of those guys that can mix it up as well. So very equal openers in terms of grid and all that so far.
Yeah, I think one thing that's important in what you just said is Life will mix it up between the very aggressive plays and the more so greedy plays. He's not quite as middle of the road as some other Zerg players are, like Hyun, who will go back and forth. But one thing that we saw yesterday in what was potentially the most maddening series of the tournament so far, we had Life really mixed it up in the one ZvP series that he played to get here yesterday.
I mean, Zest is also capable of mixing it up very well. Against Solky, you know, in one of the games he played DTs, another one Stargates. He's always trying to surprise the Zerg. If you always play the same against Zerg, I think you're bound to get counter. And then back in New York, you know, he had that one build he was going for every single game, and Life countered him very well. He knew that when you open Stargate and then you try to go into Colossus, there's this one timing that you can hit and do a lot of damage with. What did he do? Make a lot of Hydro Discs, no roaches, Zerglings. He went across the map and killed Zest, or did enough damage to win the game every single time before Zest could reach his composition. So here in the first game, we're going to have a Stargate, which, when you open for Gateway like this, is not that common, I guess. You don't necessarily have to. You can rush a third base anyway against somebody who plays gasless, but in this game we did have Life go for the gas and who's already starting to research speed.
Yeah, so Life will have access to, I'd say, what he needs to defend any type of early gateway pressure. If Zest were to try to go up to 3-4 gateways, Zergling speed is generally enough to hold it unless the Protoss really commits to the bigger attack with more than that many gateways. However, what a chances here he just builds an Oracle, takes a third base, and maybe he gets like a safety Void Ray.
You know, Zest, he's played very well against Terrans in terms of defense, timings, and all that. And here, I think his defense is going to be key against a Life who, when we saw him play against First, always got Zerglings in somehow. Like, it kept on happening every single time. Like, you would think that in a game, after the first time it happens, the Protoss makes damn sure it doesn't happen again. But somehow, he always finds a weakness in the defense and always manages to cause mistakes from his opponent.
Yeah, these Zerglings are going to try to poke the front. Of course, he'd love to be able to slip in, and
Talking
he
about
will.
Zerglings getting in.
Life, he always manages to find these openings that he can get in with. Some cute Zergling micro kills the Zealot, getting in on these probes now. And Zest, this isn't something that's going to be game-ending or necessarily even crippling, but it's really frustrating, and it definitely doesn't give you a good start. He's actually killing probes.
Life is a magician, man. Like, from the 6 minutes, he already gets in against a Zealot that was in position. Yeah. How does this happen? He forces everybody into making those mistakes, whereas they wouldn't make them against somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, the Overlord will die, but he gets a full read on everything. He can see, he sees the full layout. I think it's important, tiny things. There's not anything, he already knew about the Stargate, of course, because the Phoenix were killing his Overlord, but he knows that there's no extra gateways. He knows that the follow-up tech hasn't been started yet.
Zest needs to warp in something in his wall. 2 links are gonna get in. Okay, no, not this time.
Well, I'm sure they'll be back. They'll be knocking later, Todd. Life is really good at getting into these bases and basically always being aware of what his opponent is up to. We had a really nuts series between Life and First yesterday. We had some really crazy games. Is there any chance
That's
that
Roddy Zealot, man.
with the Roddy Zealot, I had 11 drones to kill, 1 man could not do it. But is there any chance that the style we might see out of Zest could lead towards these longer games where these complicated, drawn-out scenarios? Does Zest like Stargate heavy play?
Are you trying to get me to predict we're going to see the same kind of ending as we saw? Because I can't do that, Nate.
Do you think Zest likes heavy Stargate compositions? Is that something you've seen a lot in your studying?
No. Usually it's just one Stargates with Phoenixes, but as I say that, he's... I don't know, I guess he's just getting the Robo N4, so... No. I think Zest usually is just a few Phoenixes here and there. Of course, he can throw in an Oracle sometimes, because why not? They're that good, just as a first unit out of this target. But I don't think I've seen him play too much with Void Race, in comparison to guys like SOS. Even First yesterday was really trying to make that happen. Zest is more of a Phoenix into Colossus guy. and he's always been. So even though his build is a little bit different than it used to be, I think that's what he's going to be trying to do mostly. Look at those links. They're like a nightmare.
Life is incredibly tenacious when it comes to this, and even though he's not really going to get anything from this, he's still being annoying. He almost kills the pylon, and he's forcing these sentries to waste their force fields, and for a couple of Zerglings, it's not really like Life is losing much.
What's crazy about Life is his ability to attack and macro at the same time. Compared to like most other Zergs, I remember the first time I played him in tournaments, he was constantly attacking. I was like, well, he wasn't macroing at the same time, right? Wrong. He had so many units and kept on attacking at the same time with them. So he's really not your typical Zerg in that sense. And look, Zest going for the Colossus behind the Stargate. I'm pretty sure we're going to see a Twilight go down very soon to get Blink and +2 as well, unless he wants to play maybe with a Stargate style with his Colossus, but I don't think he's the type to. And Life, he really often does this. He gets a Hydra, then he gets a Spire, and then he waits for a while. And usually what he does is he gets 20 Hydralisks at once. Right now he's keeping the Protoss player wondering, because Zest is not seeing any units. He's going to see some Roaches, but he doesn't know. I mean, you know it's not going to be only Roaches, obviously.
Yeah, he's building quite a few. But he's getting upgrades for everything, though. Yeah. He's got Hydralisk range. He has his ranged upgrades for the for the
there
attack.
We go.
There are the Hydras coming out, but he's still getting the Mutalisk attack upgrade. He's still getting that +1 on the Spire because he wants to have the option open.
I think the key to victory here for Zest is going to be in the defense. Like I said before, first really struggled in defending against all of those attacks, and look at those links. They're already looking to do some damage. If the force fields are good, if he holds the initial attacks very well and keeps on defending well against a Life that plays so aggressive, I think he's going to do well.
Yeah, well, really, it's all about how much Life picks his opponents apart, right?
Yeah.
We've seen time and time again, and we'll joke about it for until the end of time. He's always manages to find a way to get his Zerglings into his opponent's base, either for scouting or harass, or even just pulling his attention away. Even if he doesn't kill anything or he already knows what his opponent has, it's still something you have to deal with.
Yeah.
And those, even spans of attention where you have to look back at your base, it really slows you down. These Hydras almost managed to catch some of the
Corruptors.
Phoenix. This isn't what I was expecting.
I think Life might just like attack and this time really commits to it, because if this doesn't do anything, I mean, he's going to be in so much trouble. Against a Roach Hydra Corruptor composition, if you max out as Protoss, I don't think that you can lose.
The army tried to move through. The army was stuck on that Zealot
the
position.
Colossus.
Oh, man, he runs right up to the Colossus with no units here to support those sentries, not in position. And oh, goodness. Okay, so he will force field in a few of these Roaches, but losing that first Colossus, I was just going to joke, because his Zealot was on hold position. His army was stuck. It wasn't actually going back into his base for a solid 20 seconds. If his sentries were there, maybe he can force field at least.
This alone can maybe decide the game. Zest, he lost a very, very important unit here. Now he's making more pylons. He just has to make units now. The closer he gets to maxing out, the closer he's going to be to winning that first game. And I think he realizes now that Life is only making units. He's got a few Corruptors. He's going to go for an attack. That's basically what's going to decide this game here. The way Zest can hold, if he can hold at all.
Well, Zest, because he lost that first Colossus, he'll only have 2. The Mothership Core throws a time warp, but yeah, the Corruptors will be able to get right on top of it. Actually choosing to go straight for this Void Ray. Not about, I mean, everything that he can kill at this point is good, because the Stalkers are behind the Colossus. That will fall as well. There's still Roaches and Hydras on the ground. There's no blink for Zest, so he has very little micro capability when it comes to actually taking an engagement.
He got charged and he has no Zealots. Life is going to win the first game here. It's that simple.
This army simply beats what Zest has. Life with a ton of Hydralisks destroying these Stalkers. If you can't blink Stalkers, there is no chance in hell they're going to beat Hydralisks. A couple Zealot Weapons are nice, but the Corruptors taking out the Void Ray just let these Hydralisks go to work. Switching into Mutas as the game ends. Life takes the first map against KT Zest.
Life is so good. He makes his opponents look like noobs. And it's Zest we're talking about here.
It's Zest.
How does he do this? Like, just the first few links getting in, causing the mistake from that Zealot, and then from there he just keeps on attacking everywhere. He's relentless. I think he knew that Zest was probably looking at his Phoenixes because he saw them moving on the minimap. So he's like, well, I need to do some damage across the map in the meantime, because obviously it's very hard to look in 2 places at once. So he goes into the natural, breaking the debris, and snipes the first Colossus. And I don't know why Zest was making charge, to be honest. You're always supposed to get blink in that situation. And this really looked like these old games like they played about 2 months ago in New York, where Life knows that Zest loves to play Phoenix into Colossus and just breaks him before he can reach his composition. Because if he attacks 1 or 2 minutes later and Zest does a lot more, this just doesn't work. And then from there, you're in so much trouble. You're stuck on tier 2 on Lair Tech. You have Corruptors, but they don't really do much against massive Protoss armies with a bunch of Colossi. So very, very clutch timing here at Bad Life, who looked dominating.
Yeah.
In this first game.
Well, I mean, talk about if the attack came later. If he didn't have one of his Colossus get sniped, that's definitely a moment to look back on for Zest. Be like, why exactly was my whole gateway army just sitting at my ramp and not coming over? But I guess you definitely want to keep that Zealot out of all your hotkeys so that it never moves, just in case those Zerglings slip in.
I really think that's. If he had made Blink, maybe he could have had a little bit more of a chance, with some good force fields, but there was already a lot of Corruptors, and taking that middle base by Life, I don't think that Zest read too much into that, but it's a big tell that a Zerg wants to be aggressive when he does that, rather than the base on the other side. So, I guess disappointing game here by Zest, and he's gonna...
I mean, Life outplayed him, straight up.
He has to find it in him to stay calm and collected and play better than that, because he's capable of it.
Yeah, Zest needs to just keep his head in the zone, because this is going to be a very, very tricky match for him. Merry-Go-Round is we got a little glimpse of right there. Is going to be the map that we play game number 2 on, and this. I mean, you can't play it the same way that you play King Sejong Station. At least for Protoss, Life will just crush him even more easily than it looked in the last game if he tries to take a third base like that.
Yeah, but I mean, even if he has a good plan, we saw first, actually in some of his previous games against Saxory in the qualifier for these very tournaments, doing very well on Merry-Go-Round, just playing a style Colossus, Blink and all that. But then when he had to face Life, he just played so differently because Life was causing all these mistakes out of him. He's just so good at attacking and reacting to everything that he completely throws his opponent off their games. I feel like if you play against Life, one of the better things you could do is just really focus on the defense. Maybe skip the Stargate, just get a bunch of Blink Stalkers and Sentries and make sure you reach that high army count against somebody who likes to attack. Obviously, I mean, you can choose either to go for your own attack and all in, but against Life it's very unlikely to work, or you can do what's right, aka just basically defend, kill a lot of units, do cost-effective trades, and win from there.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, Life will not play with any of the normal standard moves that you see out of a lot of other Zergs. So for Zest, defending, I agree, is the best strategy. Since you can't say that he'll have X number of units or X number of drones at any point, because Life is nothing like any. He's plays completely different. We were talking about this yesterday. It seems sometimes his attacks are completely random.
Sometimes.
They're just beautifully random. In the top left position, currently leading 1-0 in this best of 5, the semifinal from Team Startail. He is Live. Awesome crowd here. Thanks guys for coming to watch some awesome StarCraft. And in the top right position, we have the red Protoss. He needs 3 maps. Give it up for KT Zest.
Rifkin is here. Shout out to the guys from Base Trade TV.
The whole crew's here. Man, so this map, right? We talk about randomness, we talk about aggression. This map is the one where we see Protosses when they in a best of 3, a best of 5. This map, it's one of the ones you want to veto, but because this is a best of 5, you can't really you don't have too much control over the maps that you're going to play. What do you like on this map in a Protoss versus Zerg scenario, especially when you know that you're down one map and you do have a little bit more breathing room?
Yeah, if you're gonna try for a 2-base, I think just like a big gateway all-in or an immortal push are the best options. And Zest here, I think he's gonna do the same opener as he did against Solky in GSL. He goes for the gateway 13 at the ramp. He scouts after and he's gonna skip on gas, I think, up until he sees something. Basically, he wants to go into a Nexus, which is just a quick gateway to be a little bit safer than if you go for a Nexus first on a map where Zergling rushes can be dangerous. It's not that big, doesn't take forever to cross the map. So now, upon scouting, he's just gonna throw down the Nexus and then later on tech a little bit more slowly. I think this may be the map on which he went DTs. Okay, yeah, he went DTs against Solky on this map. The thing is, The VOD is out there. If I saw it, I'm pretty sure Live saw it. So does he go for that again and hope that somehow Live doesn't expect it? I have my doubts.
Yeah, I mean, Life. Can you be this good if you don't actually study your opponent's games, Todd? Is that a thing? You just walk in, just
Few
win?
players, very few players. I guess Stefano was one of them.
Well, he's definitely a special case, that's for sure. The Nexus is on the way. Gas being taken by Zest, and we'll see a cybernetics core help to finish up. How do you like the positioning of this wall, Todd? Is he? Oh, he's gonna put his natural ramp. That also makes sense.
Yeah, he's gonna. Now that he saw no gas, if he had seen a gas or even Zerglings on the way, then he could have used that gate to make the core next to it and then walled off that ramp. But now he knows he's safe for quite some time. So Zest is just gonna wall up the big ramp around his natural, and already on 2 gases. Man, if he goes DTs again, it can be dangerous, even if you have a spore. You know, what's happened to Solke is that he had a spore, but he got sniped by the DTs, and then once it dies, usually if you get spores like this on 3 bases, you're gonna have a late lair and all that. So the DTs, they just snipe. They hack away on that 3rd hatchery, they snipe it, and then from there, you're in a 2-base situation versus 2 base, and you're just gonna be so far ahead compared to where you will be otherwise. So you just take your own 3rd base, or you do a 2-base timing, and you win from there.
Yeah,
You think we're gonna see DTs, Nate? Yes or no?
Yes, I like them. I like DTs. You know, the only thing is, I only said yes because I know there's a lot of people out there that don't like Dark Templar. I'm using my
And you want
bad
them
luck.
to be mad?
I want them to be happy because I can't be right when it comes to non-Terran matchup. So I need to make sure that I pick the option that will upset the most people, so that doesn't happen.
That Terran bias in a PVZ, there you have it.
There's always a way to work it in somehow, Todd.
Apparently.
So the Nexus is finishing up for Zest. If he doesn't go for a fast Twilight play, do you like Stargate again? Oh, boom. There you go. I guess that answers our question.
In the wall as well, so I guess, I mean, Life, his links, he's not really scouting with them, but I'm pretty sure he's going to see that early enough to be able to make sure he doesn't take any damage. Zest actually uses Stargate against Solke. I think it was on Catalina. And usually he gets a Void Ray first, and no, an Oracle first, sorry, and then some Void Rays, and then tries to go into a 3rd base and stuff. But this could be for Phoenixes. With Zest, you never know. He's a big fan of those Phoenixes. But I'm leaning more towards an Oracle plus some Void Rays. He's been scouted though. This could change his mind. Oh, that's Zealot. Don't do it.
He's like, man, he's like, it's life. He's like, I really shouldn't.
Yeah.
Never leave that wall open.
He was gonna go for it, then he was like, yeah, no, not against this guy.
It looked like he wanted to wait until he killed it. Okay.
Yeah, because Dulin can't see what it is. I don't think he cancels and makes an Oracle, but yeah, it's gonna be Phoenixes here. I think you can't really expect not to be scouted when you make this target like this in your wall, so just gonna go for some Phoenixes, some harassment. Pretty sure.
It shows confidence, right? I mean, at this point, he could very well just go into the same thing the last game and say, "I'm going to do it better," and I'm not gonna worry. But
the thing is,
I don't think he cares.
Okay, yeah. The thing is, he lost twice 2 best-of-3s against Life using that same style back in New York. Now he lost the first map. And I'm not sure it's wise to keep on doing the same build when it just doesn't work. He's like the stubbornest man ever.
How would you change it up if you were Zest and wanted Life to think that you were still going to be this stubborn? You just go for a big gateway push after Phoenix, or?
Yeah, you could do that. Especially since Life, he's been skipping Roach Warren sometime for a very long time, so you could punish him. First, actually, try that earlier.
On Overgrowth, yeah.
Yes, but
it looked real. The setup looked really good.
Yes,
but
the execution just wasn't there.
Wrecked him, yeah.
You wrecked him indeed. So here we see the Forge and Robo go down. So yeah, he's just going to be the same thing once more from Zest. And you know, on the map like this, if you open Stargate, taking a 3rd base is even harder than on most other maps. So I'm having a hard time understanding why Zest is being so stubborn about this. And I'm already afraid we might just see a 2-0 here for Life. If he somehow doesn't do the strategy significantly better, which on this map, remember, it's very hard to force fill him on the map.
So let's talk about what's better in this game compared to the last one. He is actually getting a couple of drone kills still.
Yeah.
This time around, Zest didn't lose a few probes to these Zerglings. No Zerglings have actually made it into his base, which it feels really weird to say that when you have Life in the screen.
Yeah, there's not going to be a backdoor for Life to work with and go in and snipe a Colossus like in the previous game as well, I guess. We see a bunch of additional gateways being made now. Zest needs to make sure he keeps up his production. He had a big supply block actually last game. I think on 58, he made 3 pylons at once. So just that Zergling harassment really threw him off his game. And By the way, Zest is committing even more so on the Phoenixes than you usually would. Usually you stop at 4 or 5, now he made 6. And I think he knows that Lair is going to come in really late. He wants to make sure he can keep on being very active out on the map, maybe try and snipe some of those Hydras that are going to be coming out. So Life's economy in this game, not nearly as good, I feel, as it was in the previous one. 58 drones to 50 right now, and he's already making a ton of roaches.
Yeah, it's nice if you can pick off the Hydralisks as they come out as the Protoss player, but Life actually is still losing quite a few Overlords to this Phoenix.
This Phoenix is, I've killed so many units already. Zest has lost no units so far. He's trying to pull a flash, man.
Going for a perfect game.
Calling an admin, hey, there is a problem with StarCraft 2, my units don't die.
We're about to hit the 10-minute mark. He is still up about 1,000 resources as all these forces are still alive for him. So here's where that starts to change, though, Todd. The Zergling's coming over. He has reasonable number of roaches, not a crazy amount just yet, and without Hydralisk support, he can't really break this, especially since we have a Void Ray. That Colossus. Oh no, the Zealot's not blocking! Okay, warps in 2 more. You really can't afford to have another Colossus sniped.
Oh, actually those roaches are gonna trade pretty well. Life, it feels like Life knows Protoss so well, you know? He's like, well, he made this many Phoenixes, so he's not gonna have anything on the ground, so he attacks. And even though he loses some roaches, he just trades them for some units underground here, and he strikes fear in his opponent's eye already. I mean, look at this. He's taking a 4th base. I'm pretty sure he's gonna get a bunch more units to try and get maybe a cancel on that 3rd base of his opponent, or maybe at least do some attack. What's the infestation pit though? Usually he goes for Spire almost every single time with the Hydralisks, but I guess in this game...
We saw some Swarm Hosts yesterday.
Yeah. On this map, it's actually pretty good, but the creep spread, I mean, Life is fighting all the time, so his creep spread is not nearly as good. Quick Hive, okay. He's gonna be Vipers. He's gonna do a Roach Hydra Viper, kinda like we used to see Hyun do, where you take for the Hive very quickly. I mean, Hyun did it even faster because he skipped on Hydras for the longest time. Take 2 Hive, and then made the Hydras, so that he would have...
Zest knows that the Hive is on the way, too.
So he knows exactly what's up here.
And is Phoenix going to confirm just once again that Hive is
Twilight Council
in fact in production? Yeah, Twilight Council. So, as a Protoss, you want to get Templar, you want to feed back the Vipers. That's the biggest goal here. Is there anything else you can do to prepare for Hive Tech?
You can skip on making too many Stalkers and instead get Charge Lots, maybe. So basically a lot of Charge Lots, Templars, and yeah, just Colossus behind. Because if you can feedback, if you think about it.
Well, how do the Charge Lots change it versus Hive, though?
Because if you get a lot of Stalkers, you spend all of your gas into them, and they don't do much. Because like Vipers could have Blinding Cloud them.
Oh, okay, and then it's easier to build the Templar with Zealots.
The thing is, Roaches counter Zealots pretty well, so you need to make sure you get it. And look, he starts charge. He agrees with me, man.
That's why I ask you instead of trying to predict it myself. Picking up these roaches in the bottom right. And this game has been, I feel, much more passive, but that's also because Zest has written all the aggression off. Like, I really don't want to be in the same spot last game where I got pulled around, and he's still been very, very cost-effective throughout the entire game. Up now 2,200 resources in terms of overall resources lost.
Life is going to go for a massive timing here with just 2 Vipers, I think, and it's going to be super dangerous.
The Templar Archives will be done. He can get Templar out, but you know it's really hard to see where the Zerg's coming from when there's this much open space to attack into.
Yeah, you know, Zest's wall is actually not closed. If there was some Zerglings, Life could have easily got in. Against Life, you just don't not close your wall. You're just asking to lose a game to a Zergling run by. But I don't think in this game he wants to go for that, because he wants to go for the big timings. Life is now maxed out at the 14th minute with 2 Vipers, 28 Roaches, and 18 Hydralisks against an army supply of 93 for Zest already. Storm is on the way. Charge is going to finish. +2 not going to be finished on time for this. Ooh, Life is taking... He's taking a while to go across the map. If Storm finishes, this changes everything.
Yeah, the Hydralisks, I mean, they have such low hit points. Just 1 or 2 Storms will allow these Colossi to basically one-shot them.
There are a lot of Roaches.
Yeah, +2 attack is about to finish, though. The Vipers were kind of far behind. Now they're coming across. They're
still
just
a little
passing
bit
the center of the map. Yeah, you can't fight this without the Vipers. It's simply not going to work.
He didn't use Photon Overcharge, Zest here. Not yet, at least.
He used one like just a little while ago, and Life wasn't actually at his base
the
quite
abducts.
yet.
He's looking for the abducts. Life, instead of just going in, is trying to fish for some snipes, and he gets some.
Yeah, he managed to pick off 2 of the Templar. There are 2 left. There's Storms, but the feedbacks are really important for being able to actually kill the Vipers. The Vipers are the real big game changers, and Life making 17 more roaches. He's lost a lot. There's the first storm of ducks, 2, 3 Colossi, all but almost all
Look at
killed.
that guy.
That guy's just like, well, I mean, there's nothing really over here, but
Abducted into safety.
thanks for the free flight, I guess. 15 Hydras on the way, +2 attack finishing up, and Zealot Harass coming in. Zest strikes back at the southwest base of Life, just trying to deny some mining, but I feel like with the Roach support, should be able to defend this, and those
Zest
Vipers
has
are
so
getting
much
their energy
money, by
back.
the way. He has so much money. He's getting Blink behind, he's getting some Immortals as well, and he's just in a great position. In this game, he's defended perfectly against a Life who tried to play, I guess, you could say a little bit more standard, even though he did try and go for a big timing. So now we have Life just trying to add some static defense in his main, knowing that Zest already having charged and upgraded Zealous is likely to drop some more in the main. Try and get a snipe. Ooh, he's gonna try to get a hatchery at the bottom, but the Zealous get caught. And look, the Warp Prism, as it comes into the main, the Spines are gonna finish. So Life, very good anticipation here of what was gonna happen.
Yep, the Warp Prism's now landed. He's going to try to, I guess, with the amount of minerals he has, really only can be Zealot Harass at this point. Does not have a
Ooh,
Dark
the
Shrine.
feedbacks.
Comes very close to that third base, bleeding out a few Hydralisks. Not really what he was looking for.
Zest
Good
is confident
storm.
enough to attack here, actually, into that army, even though he's not maxed out.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't the full force of Life. It's such. It looks like such a puny force, and he's going to try to slip some units over to the natural during all of this. Big Zealot Warp in. Like, no, not going to be quite as effective as your Zergling attacks.
Still no units were warped in the main of Life just yet. And you know, even though there's 3 Spine Crawlers there, upgraded Zealous with charge take those apart very, very quickly. And Zest, he's almost assembled the perfect death ball he wanted to go for here. And I think it's almost going to be time to attack and try and close it out as he's taking a 4th base at the same time. And he just keeps on upgrading as well. +3 is on the way. He's going to have double Stargates. I think he realized that he's not going to be losing to ground anytime soon. And since his opponent is on Hive, what could he get? Ultras or Broodlords, against which you can be kind of worried. And there is also the possibility of Muda's transition.
Yeah.
If you look at the gas of Life, he has quite a bit of gas. So getting these double Stargates is going to allow him for to have a lot of safety, basically, to transition into whatever he needs to if he has to go into either Phoenixes or Void Rays or even Tempest later on.
These Roaches trying to attack the top side. There are quite a few Zealots here. I mean, without creep, I guess Roaches aren't crazy fast.
Yes,
But,
that 6 o'clock base, by the way, by Life could be a big deal. If it's not spotted, if Zest doesn't do anything about it. I mean, Zest, surely he has in the plans some kind of attack here. And look, he might just go for it now. We have the Greater Spire on the way, so
How
he
does
needs to
Life
make
stop
something
this?
happen now. He needs very, very good abducts, I guess, on the Colossus, but I don't think Zest's gonna let him get those. There is only 2 Vipers, 8 Corruptors, 31 Roaches, and 11 Hydras. I don't know. I don't like that composition that much.
Yeah, this army is very weak to the storms that are landing all over it, and it pulls in the Colossi. It's nice, but he's still able to get many attacks off, killing absolutely everything on the ground for Life. Life's response, 21 more Hydralisks, but since there's still even just 1 Colossus being out on the map, it can be enough to destroy this.
I mean, that entire composition together by Zest is just looking too strong here.
Yeah, he arranged his army perfectly. He picks off a couple more units that are bleeding out, heading towards the southern base. And yeah, Life has that hidden expansion, but I don't think just Hydralisks are going to be able to cut it anymore.
Oh, he's gonna catch the reinforcements. He's actually on move command.
Okay, he
What?
steps back.
The drones come in.
He pulls absolutely everything that he has. Hydra's coming from the natural as well, and he's actually surrounding this Protoss force. He picks up the Colossus. He's doing some dancing here in that Warp Prism. Life does destroy a lot of the army here, but loses all of his economy in the meanwhile. And I still think that because Zest has his 4th base, like, he should be able to recover from this.
Yeah,
no?
in terms of army supply, though, we have 76 for Life and 34 for Zest.
Zest needs
Life's
time.
drones, man. Life's
Zest
drones, they are
needs time.
heroes.
Does he have any Templar back? He's warping some in now. He's getting some Archons together, but he doesn't.
Life
Zest
lost
doesn't
so
have
many
any
drones.
storms.
He's all in. He's all in. He's only making units. 35 drones to 70 probes. He needs to attack now and close out this game. But I think Zest is just going to regroup, maybe let one of his bases die. If he tries to fight too early, it might be one of the ways he can throw away this game. So he needs to be careful. And Life is actually waiting for some Vipers right now. He needs some abducts or some landing clouds, or at least he thinks so.
Yeah, picking off some Archons, though. There are 2 Immortals mixed into this army. The Photon Cannons are going to help out a ton as well. Continue to move in. Those Vipers are very far away. And this army, as nice as it looks for Life, he does not have any economy, as you said, Todd, to replenish it. So I think this attack gets stopped, and that is it.
He took the fight too early. The hero drone's not going to be enough for Life to recover in this game. And Zest's defense from start to finish, I mean, even without fighting itself, just he was flying in with the Phoenixes, killing a lot. Even without fighting, he did the right transition to Templar as soon as he saw the Hive tech, and you saw those Chargers plus Templars. They mean business against this Roach Hydra composition, especially when you have Storm in support. And right now, Zest is in a dominant position, finally, up against Life, really showing his skill, showcasing everything.
And he's just played this game much more methodically, much more slowly. Didn't allow himself to get bullied by Life's early pressure as much as he was in the last map. And Life, this is it. Now he has the Vipers. We could see feedbacks. There's one. No blinding club. No. Oh, nothing. GG. Zest ties the series up 1-1 in our second semifinal of the day. Keep in mind, of course, the winner of this best of 5 will go on to face Flash in the grand final.
I feel like if you go for Vipers like this, you need to do a lot more with the initial attack. And the problem here for Life is that he went for Hydras before. If you're going to do that build and commit as much as you do, which you always have to the first attack, it's probably better to do the Hyun build, where instead of making the Hydras den first, you make an infestation pit, you take 2 Hive, and then you make the Hydra den and get some Hydras. The problem with that is those Phoenixes would have had even more fun than they did if there was no Hydralisks around the map earlier than that. They would have kept on flying in, even though there were spores, you know, they can just go in the area where there's just one, pick up drones, snipe them, get any overlords, any unit out of position, any miss-rally drone. And yeah, I think this is what just motivated Life to get Hydralisks earlier, which in this case delayed his Vipers way too much.
Yeah, for a map that, I'd say on the whole, Zerg's like against Protoss the longer the game goes on, because you have so many wide open exposed areas. This should give Zest a lot of confidence moving forward. And the next map, of course, is probably arguably the best defensive one in the pool, Deadwing. Very easy to hold on to a 3-base setup.
Does it really apply to Life though? This is the map where we saw the epic conclusion to an epic game.
Can we compare any game to the one that he played versus first? The 2 games he played versus first?
I don't think we can.
I've never seen a game of StarCraft in the 4 years I've been playing StarCraft 2. I've never seen a single game come down to one Zealot having to kill 11 drones with 17 Spore Crawlers protecting him from 5 empty carriers.
Yes.
And a Void Ray.
The empty carriers were very important. I actually think like those carriers played against him, because essentially at the end they were pushing the Void Rays towards the spores. And remember, he lost a few one of those sloppily. He should have just moved the carriers away, accepted that they're useless after they were kind of useless, and just thrown them, even killed them himself.
Just kill his own carriers for fun?
They were hurting him.
That is true.
They surely were not helping him. So
air units, when they clump up on each other, they push each other away. So that could actually be one of the reasons why those Void Rays accidentally stumbled into the Spore Crawlers.
You know, I think Life after this game is probably a good thing for him to do, is just not to try to play a Roach Hydra Viper style, because it's not his style. Much like the Swarmhost, you know, which somehow he did well in one of the games that we saw yesterday. He just doesn't feel lifelike at all. So going into something like Mutas, you know, we've talked about this a little bit. One of the best Zergs in Korea, Su, loves to do those Muta transitions. And I feel like this suits lifestyle a lot more. To play with some Roaches, play with some Zerglings, even Hydras. You can get a bunch of Hydras, and as long as you're going to be on 4 or 5 bases, you're always going to have enough gas to do a transition into Mutas. If he was to do that on this map, it's a very, very strong build. But then again, Zest has had some epic games himself. I think it was against Su, too, and against the Mutas. The one GSL that he won. He had some very good play against the Mutas. I remember going into a lot of Blink Stalkers, then Phoenixes with lots of attack upgrades.
And I like seeing those kinds of plays from Life, just the very fast, aggressive tendencies. The Mutalisks on this map especially, you have so much space to run around with them. It's a very big threat. Something I would like to see. I guess we're just having a little bit of difficulty getting everything set up. But we'll be jumping into this next game soon, guys, of course. Never a bad time to tweet out, hashtag IEM. Let us know where you guys are watching from. Of course, we have a lovely crowd here in Toronto. There's a lot of awesome people watching over the internets as well.
Not all of them sitting. We need more chairs.
Yeah, man. So, well, turns out there are actually a lot of people that wanted to come watch StarCraft.
Yeah.
Who would have guessed?
All right, so being 1-1 here, you know, and especially after that first game, you have to wonder like how is Life thinking right now? I mean, he's been having a fairly easy time here, 11-1 so far in maps, but now in the last game he actually just didn't really make anything happen at all, except that one drone pull, but which in the end just wasn't enough. He was doing everything else just averagely compared to the usual Life that we see that just gets into his opponent's base, into his opponent's head and does damage everywhere. 1-8-0, get wrecked.
1-800.
When do you call that?
Well,
after every ladder.
Well, when your one zealot can't kill 11 drones.
Maybe Yoda called that.
We got a Kappa HD in the back.
Oh.
Always a pleasure. Shout out, heard there's a pretty cool barcraft going on in Calgary right now. Another place in Canada I've yet to go to. Cheers to you guys. You know, a lot of, I guess Canada is a pretty big country, Todd.
Yes. Who better than you to talk about the Kappa HD sign, Nate?
It was a coincidence.
Sure. So Deadwing, yeah. You know, Zest, after that last game that he played, I could definitely see him again go for the Stargates, go for something like a quick third. And I feel like maybe I was wrong saying that he does not really play with the Stargate style, because in the previous game at least he added 2 more. And those felt as like a safety set of Stargates, whereas most players just add them because they want to go Colossus Void Ray, and they love that A-move prismatic alignment. But for Zest, I don't know, it felt like safety, and then he realized, well, he had killed most of the army of his opponent, and he's like, well, I'm just going to make some Void Rays and have fun then, I guess. So we'll see. There's still a possibility he wants to play with that kind of style where you get a bunch of Stargates, which makes you extra safe against the Mutas. Counters Roach Hydra pretty well, even if there is Vipers, as long as you have Templars, and you get the proper composition and you don't fall too far behind in supply.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, Todd, since we have a little bit more time before we get into this next game, who are you liking when you look at this series, as far as which one of these guys can actually beat Flash?
I talked a little bit about it earlier, and I feel like Life would have a better chance. I think I saw something earlier. Somebody posted a screenshot. I mean, I already knew about the MLG, but the 2 times that Flash came over to North America or America, I guess we're in Canada, he was stopped by Life twice. So a little bit of a nemesis, Life for Flash. Whereas Zest, you know, even though he's pretty good against the Iron, he's definitely not invincible. Just lost to Cure in GSL, and Flash has shown a lot of good things against Protoss. So I feel like Flash will be a favorite against Zest and an underdog against Life. You agree?
I'm inclined to agree, but Flash has kind of been busting out. I like the way that he's been doing Terran versus Zerg recently, especially since the patch that's made the Thor a little bit more effective. He took out some seriously good Zerg players recently. We were kind of talking about this yesterday, like I believe who did he defeat in the Kespa Cup? For some reason, my mind escapes me. Effort was one of the really high-level Zerg players he was able to take out. Probably one of the better ones in Korea. We have everything set up, guys. We're counting down. We are going into map 3 as we speak here at the Intel Extreme Masters Toronto. You guys ready for game 3? I think they're ready, Todd. Deadwing, we could have potentially, after one epic game yesterday, this one could go long too. Goodness knows.
We can only wish for another draw, Nate.
If a draw ends like that, I don't think it's quite so bad. Better than me lifting my buildings into the air. We're loaded in. As you guys can see in the bottom left position, we have the blue Zerg player currently tied 1-1 from Team Startail. He is live. And his opponent spawning in the top right position as the red Protoss player representing KT Rolster. He is Zest.
Okay, so I've looked it up. Flashed in the past. He played in 2 premier tournaments in USA, which were MLG Winter and Fall. And both times he lost to Life 2-4. And in one of those tournaments he took 2nd, and in the other one 3rd and 4th. So every time he gets far in the tournaments, it seems like he loses to Life. So one thing to keep in mind with the possible finals we could have.
Yeah, Life is he's got a nice record against Flash. It's crazy to think how quickly things can change in StarCraft, though, with how good these players are.
Yes.
I'd say Life has always been really consistently good, but Flash is definitely not the same Flash that he was a year ago in StarCraft 2.
Extractor already here for Life, who's gonna try and catch Zest off guard.
We saw this
Maybe.
against First.
Yes.
He opened with the 14-14, and there's a spawning pool now starting up, so it's gonna be very quick speed play. Zest had to have seen, or at least looked at the VODs of Life's games from yesterday, right?
Yes, I'm pretty sure he did, and going for a scout here and a Forge is going to be perfectly fine, whereas if he had opened Nexus 15 and maybe skipped on the scouts, you can get surprised, you can lose right away if you're not careful. But yeah, he's going to be careful enough here to see exactly what's up. Luckily for him, I guess. Up until now, I mean, Life could mix up maybe some crazy all-ins, even though Life really doesn't strike me as the guy who goes like bailing one base or something, you know, especially now that he's been scouted.
Yeah, Life is one of those players. The way you put it is kind of interesting. He usually doesn't commit and go all in off of plays like this.
Actually, I think it was on this map where he cancels speed. Yeah, okay, he restarts it now. I think ideally he would like to be able to cancel speed and do the same as he did against First.
Oh, you just take 2 hatcheries
Yes.
and go straight up to lair.
And drone up very, very hard before you finally resume speed. So I think now he's going to wait a little bit. Because look now.
Zest never
He started
actually
speed.
saw the spawning pool though.
He doesn't have the money, yeah. He didn't really look.
I think that makes it a bit. I mean, Life, of course, is worried about getting his plot scouted, but there's the first hatchery coming in.
Yeah, speed was cancelled again to make the hatchery earlier, and I'm pretty sure he's going to follow that up just like yesterday with another hatchery. And basically Zest, on the other hand, you have to get a cannon, you have to be careful, because until proven otherwise, Life is guilty of getting speed quickly, so you need to be careful as Protoss not to die to some kind of Zergling attack or anything like that.
He restarted speed before starting his 3rd hatchery this time
Interesting.
around.
I guess
there's
he had
still
some
a drone.
money.
Yeah, there's still a drone going over there. He just wanted to get that gas out of the way. Although I certainly think he could have gotten away with just going for a lair, right? There's no way that Zest can be aggressive after this Forge opening.
What's happened against First is that he completely skipped on speed for a very, very long time, which First was able to notice because he saw that the links basically weren't fast. So from there, First kind of got, you know, I guess confidence, you know, in the sense that he knew he was completely safe, and he played it differently, maybe a little bit greedier and all that. So here, Life wants to make sure he strikes fear in Zest eye, so he's even going to go for the debris. I wonder actually if he wants to commit to anything. I don't think so. He knows he's going to force at least another cannon here out of his opponent.
I mean, the more that he can slow him down, the better, right? Cybernetics core is complete. There's a reasonable little bit of gas. So where does Zest want to spend it first? Warp Gate starts up. He does still have that Zealot coming in. 10 Zerglings on the way for Life. So maybe this speed timing that he finished up, does he really think he can make anything happen here?
I'm not sure. Usually you can't, but...
No, yeah, I was going to say, normally I would say, okay, you're not going to get to the wall, but then, you know, 2 Zerglings just get by.
No, he gets a scout on the Stargate. Maybe he just made the Zerglings because he thinks there might be a very quick 3rd out of Zest. And, because, like, imagine right now Zest sent a probe to that 3rd base and try and take it. Unless you've made, like, Zerglings in advance and, or you know it's coming, you're not going to cancel it because then 2 pylons go down and then you roll off a cannon. So maybe, I guess he wanted to make sure that doesn't happen. But right now, he's hiding those links on the left-hand side. Maybe he just does that to make sure he doesn't get like a proxy pylon up near his base, because he did something similar. I think it was on King Sejong Station. He made links.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he checked the bottom left-hand side of the map just to make sure there was no pylons there and he wasn't getting gateway attacked, I guess.
Did he see that it was... Like, he can see that it's a Phoenix, right? I think... Oh, no, he didn't. Okay. I think he had vision of it.
I think he got close enough.
Yeah. That looks like a Phoenix, I'd say. Close enough to one.
Surprise! It's an oracle.
See, that's not what a carrier looks like.
Not yet, Nate.
Not yet.
Not yet. Actually, with that debris already being very low on hit points, Zest could maybe just go for that other 3rd base that you can take.
Yeah, with the cannon there, you can break it down pretty easily. Robotics facility starts up.
Yeah.
So
Usual style.
Todd, yeah, Todd, this looks pretty much like standard straight up Zest. If he's able to get to that same army again, what does Life want? What does Life need to actually kill that?
I think you can go straight into Mutas actually against this, because especially if he scouts with an overseer that your opponent's going to Colossus, he gets the Robo Bay, 1 Colossus, maybe even a 2nd one. You just wait until you make units, you make a bunch of Mutas and Corruptors, and your opponent is made useless tech and useless units against your air units. And then from there, you can basically just keep on expanding, go up to 5 bases, aka 10 gas very quickly, and just do well in this situation. So it will be a good option here. I'm gonna stick with my my gut and my prediction of that we might see some Muta play here out of Life, which I really think would be nice against Zest style.
Yeah, I like Life had some. We had some. I guess we could say it was pretty intense. The Mutalisk situation when it came down to the Muta versus Phoenix against First on this map, because even as big of a map as it is, these fast units can be very difficult to control. Lair is on the way now. The Zerglings are going to hit this. Zealot wants to, I guess, deny. I guess you can't really deny this base. No.
Maybe he could have gotten cancelled if he targeted directly, but no, I'm not sure. I don't think.
Almost got a probe.
Those Phoenixes, by the way, they're just waiting for units to fly by. 26 Zerglings. Okay, Life is going to commit a lot of units to try and get a cancel on that base. And you know what? There is +1 Zealots, but I'm not sure that Zest can warp in enough units to hold. He goes for sentries. Whoa! I could see a surround happen very quickly here.
Yeah,
and Zest being in trouble.
Life sees, Life knows what's up. First force field popped, and the Zerglings come through. He's
Used
able
a
to
lot
get
of
some
energy.
surface area.
Oh, the Zerglings are going to get in on the left-hand side. He needs to make sure he walls off behind. Going to cancel that gateway. There is no more force fields. Oh.
Okay, he's just about out of energy. The Zerglings have managed to get in. Time Warp is thrown in. Zealots being warped in. Zest really needs these expensive sentries to stay alive. One of them is killed, and will keep the other two alive, which is not bad. It starts up 2 cannons immediately, so Zest holds for now.
Zealots +1 good unit, I guess. And Nate, we have +1 missile attacks being made. Rotorun goes down now, same time as the Spire. I thought for a second it was going to be Swarmost again, which on this map, if you don't use with a Nidus, it's going to be very hard to siege or do anything with. I'm still wondering. I think with that Spire going up, Life is going to have so much options to choose from. He can just add any kind of tech building he wants if he wants to go into something else, but I really think it's Mutas right now, even though he's getting missile attacks level 1.
Yeah, I think when you look at the setup, he doesn't have the Hydralisk in yet, right? So he's not going to just play off of roaches. And the Infestation Pit, I think that's what we're starting to see where a little bit more he wants to go. Do you think he just goes up for Hive, or are we actually going to see those Swarm Hosts again like we did yesterday?
I don't think so, but he might be just making that to have as an option and still be thinking very heavily about Mutas right now, because if you look at the gas, he starts a lot of roaches and gets the Hydra, so I guess maybe doesn't want to go into Mutas, at least for now. Usually, like we see Life gets roaches, gets Hydras, and then later on do a Muta transition after he attacks with those. And what happens often and what happened against MC is that he kills a lot of the Stalkers, he trades his roaches and Hydras for them, and then does the Muta transition. And when there is not enough Stalkers, he just goes in, snipe probes left and right, or even close out the game if he can. 13 Hydra start now.
Yeah, he starts up that range upgrade too. Phoenix, of course, still looking around, seeing if they can kill anything else. There was an Overseer that was able to get a nice read on everything inside of the base of Zest. But Todd, with the way that this map is set up, you have a very nice ramp. Like, these roaches are going around the right side. They're going to try to avoid the Watchtower, even though he has the Watchtower. He doesn't want to get seen by the Phoenix, I assume. But, like, this ramp at the third, how do you get up this without getting force fielded to pieces?
Yeah, it's very difficult. I don't think you can, to be honest, especially if there are Colossus out. Second one is going to start now, actually. Not sure if I agree with the Void Race, but you know what? Zest, he's now getting +2 and Blink, so he's going to be in a great position against any kind of army that can attack him here soon, I feel. Whereas Life is, because of what you just talked about, he kind of has to play passively. Like, he cannot really attack into that ramp. So right now he's just massing units, not doing much.
He's like, please take a 4th base so that I can attack you again.
Double Observer, actually, from Zest above the exit of Life's base. In the previous game, he had one of those there, which allowed him the entire game to know exactly what was being made and to adjust very well. But 2 is definitely overkill here, and he's about to scout the Hive on the way.
All right.
He's an observer.
Another Stargate's being added, by the way, with +1 flyer weapons for
Colossus Void Ray, man. That's where it's at right now.
This is just the first step before we eventually get Mutas. +1 for the Mutas starting up, or potentially Corruptors.
Colossus Void Ray is great if you can actually reach that composition and you're not in danger of like really dying anytime soon, which Zest right now, he feels confident enough to go for that.
He's got those Colossi by the wall. Photon Overcharge is activated. Just Stalkers alone aren't going to hold that away.
The 5th base he started here for Life as well. I wonder if he goes into something like Broodlords, because he's making Corruptors. Usually in this situation you don't really get Corruptors.
Against on a map this big, I think getting, like, Broodlords are so slow
Yeah, but
I'd
you
be really,
morph them
I'd be
across
really
the map.
surprised. Yeah, but I'd still be really surprised because there's so much room for Zest to dance around with air forces and eventually just pick them off. No?
Yeah, look, Greater Spire starts. I think there is a clutch timing that you can hit before they are Tempests. And if you have enough Broodlords, you can really kill your opponent right out or do a ton of damage. But in this game, somehow, Zest is basically ahead of his opponent on every step. He's already getting a fleet beacon. At the same time, the Greater Spire is going up. Now that Run-By did nothing, he had a bunch of cannons and units in position. And Zest is just playing a lot more solid in that game 3 as he did on game 2.
Yeah, oh, I like this. Hydras on the low ground, picking off some probes for
There
life.
is no Vipers nearby.
No.
It's nice to get cheeky alive, but you need to be careful.
I mean, he's very close to being able to pick off some of these forces. There's
Zest is even going to attack, I think.
There's no high Templar. There's nothing with crazy range.
Zest attacks before there are Broodlords maybe here. Because look, he's maxed out. He's going to start moving across the map.
He has a Warp Prism with the army.
Yeah,
He
to
could.
reinforce.
He could.
Charge
Okay.
and +3 on the way as well. I
That
really like
observer-
Zest's position now.
That observer that was watching all the production does finally get killed. And Zest, he kicks off a 4th base. I agree with you.
Oh, his army is split.
Might not be bad.
Needs to be careful here. A lot of the Zealots actually are going to be sent away.
Hey, he pops the Guardian Shield. The Corruptors are going to move through. First Abducts, grab 2, 3 Colossi, and all of them will be destroyed very quickly. Those Void Rays, man, they command respect, but this is still a very high damage output army that Life has, and it's kind of anti-Void Ray.
With some good Blink Micro here, Zest is going to win that fight, but the Corruptors do get away. The Zealots on the left-hand side are about to have charge, and +3 Life needs new units, and he needs them quickly because he's about to be hit.
32 Hydralisks and 60 Zerglings is the Remax choice for Life, but this army of Zest is still marching across the map. Starts up his +1 melee, +3 attack is almost complete for Zest, and so is his charge upgrade. He's just going to focus down this hatchery. It's very low. No queens nearby to transfuse. He picks it off. Denying a nice little chunk of economy from the Zerg player. Some Zerglings wanted to run out.
Life is trying to catch him in the middle of the map, knowing that the Void Rays cannot go back that fast, but Zest somehow knew this was coming, so he pulls back towards his cannons. He needs more units to take a very good fight here, to make sure he doesn't throw away most of his army and possibly lose the game, because Life can remax faster than Zest.
Yeah, he's got a very...
He's gonna go for it.
He's got a powerful force. He's moving in. There's no ducks here, though, so it makes things a little bit tricky. He can't quite grab the Colossus in the back, and with the Time Warp with these Void Rays focusing on the Corruptors, he's still having a really hard time, but are the number of Hydralisks too high?
Zest now has charge, so he can reinforce exclusively with Zealots, and it looks like he's gonna have a quite comfortable hold, and now has the supply lead.
That's pretty damn good hold, I'd say. This game's getting a little bit crazy. Storm starts up. There's still no Templar on the map, so feedback was never really an option throughout this game for Zest. He can now start to use that. We also have 3 Vipers on the way, so we'll start to see the Abducts come back into play.
Zest is just in a great position altogether. I think he's just going to remax, go across the map and kill Life, who's still on a Roach Hydra Viper composition. I told you it wasn't your style, man. It's not your type.
And this is looking a little interesting here. Zest just, after that first game, after getting dominated so hard on King's Sejong Station, he's really been turning the heat up. More Corruptors are on the way.
You know, losing that 5th base is a big deal too, because now maybe Life, if he had more gas, could have made some Broodlords. But look, even Tempest being made now in advance from Zest, which are not a massive investment. I mean, even if you're up against Roach Hydra Viper, they're not going to do that much. But it's only 2 units that cost 4 supply each, so it's not the end of the world.
Starts up another base on the right side. Mothership is on the way. And even Phoenix range. He's just getting all of the upgrades. He's getting everything.
Those roaches are dead, supposedly. Or is he not blinking?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, he's going to kill most of these off. They don't have much utility against his army, I think. 5 Broodlords. Well,
against Tempest and a Mothership, even Anion Pulse Crystals is going up, so no Muta transition can even be thought about. And I guess since he's going Broodlords, Life actually ruined his gas economy here.
Yeah, no, his bank is pure minerals.
Zealots in the main.
Zerglings aren't going to cut it. Zealots are on top of that hive. There are Hydralisks close by to defend, but still he's being pulled around. That War Prism is still alive. Yeah, I think that's one. His building positioning on the Greater Spire is not bad. He actually can't really get much surface area to attack it.
Zest is having fun. He didn't particularly need that Mothership, but he's still going for it. He's like, man, you make one of those since Wings of Liberty on Daybreak.
So when you're a rich Protoss and you're feeling pretty good against the Zerg, just get a Mothership. Sometimes it's nice to enjoy the beautiful things in life.
I don't know if it's his actual state of mind, Nate, but it sounds pretty good. 5th base on the way now for Zest, who I think should be attacking soon. Really not sure why he's playing it that passive right now. He's honestly, if he keeps on sitting like this, he's really giving a real opportunity for Life to maybe do a comeback somehow, even though right now it's still looking very bad because of the death ball that Zest has assembled. 2 more Broodlords on the way, by the way.
So
he's gonna go up to 9.
He's building Ultralisks too, and that's a pretty interesting mix of force. I mean, if Ultras can get on top of this, there's no Immortals.
There are not that many Stalkers compared to your usual build because he made so much of everything else.
Yeah.
I think if...
Might not even be that terrible of an idea, but he still needs to get some big abducts off. He needs to get rid of that mothership. And it most importantly, needs to be able to start pulling away at those Colossi without getting feedback.
If the Tempest get to attack the Broodlords, it's going to be a disaster here for Life. He's actually chasing down now. He's going to get some good abducts on one of those Tempests. 1 free kill here to start the fight, always nice. Stepping on creep, you know, Zest should have maybe pushed back the creep slowly and then try to fight closer to the base of Life. Now getting abducted like this means he has to remake units before re-engaging. 2 roaches actually lost in the middle of the map. What are they doing there? Go home or die.
Well, sad story ends for them. Pathogen Glands is about to finish up, which means Infestors that are on the way. They're going to come out with enough energy for Fungal Growth. Fungal Growth, very good in these scenarios. You can lock down all those air units that clump up.
The upgrades of Zest, much scarier, by the way. He's got +2 air.
Yeah, he's getting +3
attack.
air. Not very often. He's adding on another Stargate as well.
+2 armor right now. Also, he has that level 1 shield. Getting everything he needs to. 1 more Stargate, double gates. Starting to build up a big bank, and I think he's going to go for a kill. He's doing what I said, you know, he's pushing back a little bit of the creep, taking his time. Life's
still not
only chance is really to take a very, very good fight, somehow remax, and then fight again very quickly.
How do you take a good fight against this? He needs like...
You hope that the Protoss is going to A-move like they usually do, and then you do the abducts.
See, if I had said that, then the booze would have come out. The Warp Prism speed is about to finish up. Chitinous plating is coming close to finishing for Life too. But I think, like, in all seriousness, if he can get a Fungal on the Colossi on top of the Void Rays with everything, and then move in with his abducts and start to peel this army apart, I think that'd be really nice. But he needs to get rid of that Mothership because he can still recall too.
The Mothership is asking to get abducted. Zest needs to be careful.
Oh, Revelation. I love this because now, of course, Tempest can shoot further than they can see, so...
I'm a little bit surprised that Zest is not grouping his Tempest separately from the rest of his army, because you really want to have them in separate groups so you can shift the Broodlords. So we'll see how it goes. I think he's about to attack here. And Life is not even maxing out. Can you believe how patient that guy is?
So it's got to be Mutalisk Squitch then after this, right?
Here we go. He loses 2 Broodlords before the fight even starts. The Tempest being left ahead. What?
Okay, well, he pulls in some of the Tempest. These Broodlords still able to fire Fungals, one of the Templar, of course. Very nice grab there. With no more Tempest remaining,
he's swapping in
suddenly
Stalkers.
these Broodlords can actually be useful.
Why is Zest swapping in Stalkers? There are Ultras, Broodlords. I guess there are not that many of them anymore. Life is still not maxing out. What are you doing, Life? Come on.
He's building 9 Corruptors.
There we go.
He's going to build a lot of Corruptors. You know what I realized? Life has upgraded his Zergling, or excuse me, his melee upgrades consistently, even though Zerglings are no longer a factor. It's the Broodlings. When these Broodlords fire, like their attack, of course, to the Broodlings, but then they can fight for a little bit longer, and they don't do a crazy amount of damage, but they attack fast. So getting them upgrades is incredibly cost-effective, and it really makes the Broodlords much more scary than they would otherwise be.
I think Zest realized he had too many Stalkers for the death bolt that he had now, so he's sending them to the left-hand side to try and do some damage on that base. And he's maybe going to use that to basically hope Life's going to bring his main army out of position so that he can finally get a good fight. He's going to sack some probes too. Zest truly is having fun right now.
With this bank, I can't think of many reasons not to. These Stalkers run forward, pick off a Queen. Not terrible. He's going to jump on this left side base, and Zest is going to trade out slowly.
He goes for the fight.
Oh, there's the Fungal, but recall. Stalkers on the left side are still going to chew this base apart. No more mining here. He's out of range of the Spine Crawlers.
Oh man, look at the unit skills.
5 Ultralisks in production, and 3 Tempests for Zest.
I mean, in terms, if you think about it, in terms of Immortals right now, we don't have a single Immortal on the map. So this could be a very good move. I think Life may have anticipated there were going to be some more Tempests being made, and he's trying to get a good army against them. I mean, obviously the Broodlord's not going to do much, but I think he's going to use the Ultras, Queens, and Corruptors to tank. And maybe if he can transfuse these Broodlords some, by the way, or even abduct the Tempest, he could do well in the fight still. this is some very, very high level death ball assembling, I guess you could call it, or late game PvZ from both players so far in this game.
He's crafting it like a fine clay vase, Todd. He wants to have it everything perfectly, everything aligned just right, and it's gonna have a lot of Tempest in it too. A lot. Is this what he's gonna max out on? Does he need anything else? Is this what you would order? Is this the death ball you would order, Todd?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Maybe there is one Zealot actually in there. There's like a
You know,
hair,
oh,
a hair in
one,
his soup,
You
man.
know, that one Zealot really just... He's not even at full health either. That's...
Unacceptable. And I use the Revelation, and I think right now Zest, if we look at his vision, he sees the entire army of life. Like what can he add to his army? I guess some Immortals, because he sees all of the Ultras. And whoever attacks here is kind of going to be at disadvantage, because then the opponent picks a good position. And look, he's adding on Immortals now. He knows that he's going to need something to help against these Ultras, and +3 attack Immortals usually do the job pretty well. And that, by the way, that top left-hand side base, sick ninja base. Like nothing was ever sent there.
Just gas.
It's so important. Like in terms of gas.
There's more probes being moved out, by the way. So is he trying to go full Terran here with his army supply?
Zest is being way too patient about this. And Life might actually finally go for an attack. He feels confident enough.
I mean, he needs to get rid of that mothership. Okay, there's the abduct. No more recall available for the Protoss player. A couple of these Ultralisks just kind of get wrecked, though.
He was
the
off
rest of the
creep for a
army's left
second.
behind.
Life lost so much supply instantly.
Yeah, he's fighting off creeps, made this really tough. The Storm's hitting everything. Great feedbacks on the Queens. The Broodlords, yes, they do a lot of damage, but as long as the Void Race can keep these Corruptors preoccupied, the Tempests are going to annihilate this Air Force. 23 Corruptors on the production tab to follow this up. I'm surprised he didn't go for a little bit more of a Muta switch.
Mutas could have been good here, but I guess he knows he's up against triple Stargates, and range was made already as well. Life, this was so weird. They waited for the longest time, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he's like, let's go! He attacks, and pretty bad position, to be honest. The Ultras came in like one by one.
I think if you can get that abduct on the mothership, and then he's just basically telling himself, you can't recall, so I should attack.
Yeah.
And that didn't work out very well for him.
But still, just the positioning is always very important, and now it's just awful. I mean, Zest, look at this. He remaxed instantly. He's going for another mothership. Level 3 shields, more Void Race, the Golden Armada, man, it's almost there.
Yeah, he's got himself down to just 57 probes, so he's able to get a very big army. He has a huge fleet. 3 more Void Rays, like you said. That armor coming in off the Cybernetics core for the flying units. 5 Vipers in production. So Life has decided to take this battle. He wants to fight in the skies. He's got Broodlords, he has Corruptors, and he has Infestors. Not much on the ground to support this, though. 18 Corruptors.
I mean, Life cannot even max out. That's how broke he is. He mined out 3 bases already. He's in so much trouble. He has no gas left. Still trying to make some more Broodlords. I guess he really wants those Corruptors to tank, but if you look at the amount of Templars now by Zest, he's just going to be able to storm so much. Going to sack some Stalkers into that base once again, hitting the economy of his opponent. He doesn't really care about minerals, to be honest. Zest has so many of them. He should be taking more bases.
Yeah. Broodlords do show up here. He's got a couple that finish up near this base that will try to help defend against this. If these Stalkers get under, that would actually really be quite bad. And he does. He blinks under. He's going to kill one of the Broodlords. Okay. Not bad. As considering that he wanted to trade off the Stalkers either way, I have to say, not bad.
Oh, that top left-hand side base was finally found, and Life, he already had no gas. He's going to have even less now. He mined out the gas in all of his bases, actually. He has absolutely no gas income, except that long-distance mining on that 5th base. Not the best position to be in as a Zerg player. He can make Zerglings, I guess. Yeah. They're not that good against the Golden Armada, man.
No, especially when that army can become invisible when the mothership joins up. Definitely makes things a bit tricky.
Oh my god, few Hydras being sacrificed here, doing absolutely nothing. Life literally falling apart.
I don't see how his Life can beat this army that Zest has. This is, as you said, one well-crafted death ball.
I don't know if Zest actually thinks he's better not to attack here, or if he just wants to break Life mentally. He's adding on Stargates.
Yeah.
Like, what's next? He's gonna kill his own army and remax on carriers or something? Like, just attack, dude.
If you're this ahead.
And that's me saying that.
even someone who likes to be as patient as you, Todd.
Yes. I think he's gonna go for it soon.
He's like taking bases everywhere. He's like, let me get some oracles out. you know, for a best of 5, he could just also be trying to wear life out. He's like, well, I'm pretty comfortable here.
I don't always win versus life, but when I do, I make sure I have some fun.
I want to make sure life remembers this series.
Pretty sure it's gonna remember. It's in a new sworn enemy.
If I was on the losing end of this game, I'd certainly remember it. With how slow, how patiently Zest is taking this. I definitely agree with you, though. I feel like he probably could have just punched through this.
Yeah.
But why risk it when you can take the whole map? And
in terms of remaxing capability, I mean, Zest, he's on 14 gateways. He's got 6 targets. He's about to hit basically all the upgrades you can ever get as Protoss 2. If we look at the upgrades tab, everything was basically made in this game.
yeah.
All right, it's go time.
Is it go time? He comes in, he got a nice revelation so he can see everything. He has just 5 Tempests, not bad to just try to poke away from a long range, but the Vipers will still be, you know, at least mildly frustrating to say the least.
Life actually I had to make a bunch of Zerglings because he had a lot of minerals and no gas. Oh, he might try to go for a counter-attack, I guess, with them, but there is a Dark Shrine
will
up.
be tough to pull off. There's a bunch of cannons up here in this top left base. The Zerglings, of course, can kill them since they have
Zest is maxed out. He can't swap.
Just like recall. It's like, you're not killing any of my stuff.
Somebody call 911.
Call 1-800-GET-WRECKED for those Zerglings.
Life is taking this opportunity to catch some Void Race, but
yeah, I'm trying to find. Yeah, Todd, are there any upgrades that Zest hasn't gotten that Boros can get? I'm pretty sure he's got everything.
Oh, the carrier upgrade. I think he saw Life's game tomorrow on that map against First, and he's like, no.
Well, now I
might be having fun, but I'm not gonna go that far.
I just won't be satisfied until he gets it. He doesn't need to build any carriers. Just get that achievement, you know.
A Broodlord, ambitious Broodlord morphing there. He's actually even revealed. Goodbye.
So Zerglings are going to try to attack this right side base. Is he going to recall this one too, Todd?
God, please, no. Actually, Life is sniping in the right-hand side base, which shouldn't matter. Already being maxed out, Zest cannot actually warp in anything. He just warped in 180 there. Oh, good abduct.
Does the Oracle. He did get the revelation off, though, so he can still track this army.
Life is not mining gas on his 5th base, so he's trying to squeeze out as many Corruptors as he can. The thing is, having that many Storms here for Zest, I feel Templars are going to be the key in winning this. If he didn't have Templars with his army, he could maybe actually lose.
At what point do you think Zest isn't worried that he's losing workers at these bases anymore just to get more army?
Yeah, he's just so rich. He could literally chrono boost like a lot of units, but he's going to go for the fight.
Finally happening. Pulls in the mothership. He actually gets a nice fungal. A lot of the Archons aren't able to do anything because of the blinding clouds, too. Colossi are just cleaning up Broodlings, and here come the Void Rays, eradicating these Corruptors so fast with those +3 upgrades. The Broodlords, as you said, now also being picked away at. There are no more Tempests with this army, but just Void Ray, Archon, Colossus should be enough to finish this. GG from Life, and Zest finds himself 1 map away from a grand final date with Flash.
He wants it, man. He wants that team kill in the finals. Not quite Team Liquid-ish. To not get a team kill before the finals.
Would definitely be a good day for KT to be both players in the finals of a tournament that was this stacked with so many good players, so many crazy games, so many upsets. The Deadwing PVZs have also been pretty good.
You know, Life is usually the guy making stuff happen, not the guy having to sit back and make transitions he doesn't even really want to make, to be honest. So Zest, he's finally the one forcing those mistakes out of his opponent. Every transition was made beautifully. I feel like Zest, the way he's playing right now, he kind of reminds me of Rain. He just plays like fairly standard, but very, very well. Like no mistakes really can be found in his play. He does every transition right. Every time he has to attack, he attacks, except in that last game, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Life, with some of his attacks, he's puts himself in an awkward position. There was a big opportunity. We were kind of talking about this after that first initial trade, where we weren't sure if he was going to go for Mutalisks or not, and then he's added on a bunch of Corruptors. And most Zerg players will tell you that Infest or Broodlord is not really the greatest thing against Protoss, especially once they have already 3 Stargates on the map to get Tempests with.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised by the Broodlords too. I did think, you know, it's very tricky because even though you have Tempests and there are Broodlords, obviously the Tempests can get abducted and they can get sniped very quickly. Also, they're not going to automatically attack the Broodlords. It might be hard to attack them, but if you get an Oracle, realistically, you're always going to be able to do it. So Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what Life was really thinking here. He just played it way too patient, never really tried to make something happen. He just hoped that Zest would attack, and I guess in the end that's why Zest was as patient as he was. And also Zest, you know, we see everything. We see where Life was at in terms of economy. Zest doesn't. I think that's why he didn't attack. Maybe he thought there was like a 3,000 minerals bank for Life, in which case, if you lose the fight, you're in trouble. Because Zerg instantly remaxes with all the lavas, counter-attack, and then you may die. You may die from a game you were very far ahead in.
The next map is Overgrowth. Is there anything you particularly like about Zest's style on this map? It's smaller, a little bit more difficult to maneuver around, a little less resources.
Yeah, this map is definitely going to be better for like his main go-to style, you know, where you go for the Phoenixes and then take 2 Colossus. This map, in generally speaking, no matter what the matchup is, easier to take a third base and secure it, just playing standard. And yeah, just letting the skill speak for itself by not doing anything special. So wouldn't be surprised if he just goes for something like that. Zest. Just a standard Stargate, Robo.
What about
Get some
Life?
Colossus out.
We're going to see the fast 3 hatcheries again. We've seen it on this map before from him.
Maybe a gold base is possible, but yeah, usually he goes double hatch and then pull no gas on this map a lot. Maybe a cannon rush?
You think? Is Zest a cannon rusher? I don't get that impression.
He's
from
up
him.
2-1, and I mean, against Life it would be risky, but he wants to keep on having some fun. I guess losing with a cannon rush is not actually that fun, but winning is just so fun that you don't care about losing.
He just needs this one map. And then he moves on to the grand finals. Life needs to win the next.
I don't think he's going to
2.
cannon rush, but I think it'd be funny for sure if he did.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just whenever I play Protoss, my games always last under 10 minutes. So I would also love to see a cannon rush. It's the only thing I can really give you a good analysis of, Todd. We're loading in. We are here on Overgrowth, and we're ready to kick off what could potentially be the final game of the semifinals here at the Intel Extreme Masters Toronto. Spawning in the bottom left position as the blue Zerg player. Representing Team Startail, he is Life. And his opponent in the top right, the red Protoss player, coming all the way from Korea, representing KT Rolster. He is Zest.
Life like micro.
No, Life Drilisk. I was like, I wasn't sure if there's a way to make wrecked, like a life pun on wrecked, but he built an Overlord, so we're not going to have any life crazy fast spawning pools.
And no quick gas either so far, so nothing like a 10-10.
No pylon on the low ground.
10-10, man.
No one's cheesing this game, it seems.
Yeah, Zest has been doing a lot of scouting. So to be honest, it will be very risky against him to go for something like a quick pull or some kind of cheese. And I think most of the time it wouldn't be good, especially being down 2 games. Your Life cannot really take this kind of risk. So it's going to be a Gateway 13, which I think will be the same build as we saw in the first game, where he most likely will skip gas and then go for a Nexus. Zest seems to like that one quite much. And he does it on 3 players map actually as well, which is weird when you think about it, because you're not sure you're going to be able to scout your opponent first, but on this map you are.
Yeah, Life sees, his Overlord sees that probe coming across the map, so he does have to keep his eyes open a little bit, and this Overlord will see the probe continue to move forward. He already has a drone on the low ground, just in case Zest wanted to try cannon rushing.
He might try and sell a story here.
Yeah, we know that he doesn't have a forge, but Life doesn't know that yet. He could try to throw a pile on him, bait
He
some
wants to make
drones down.
the Nexus before. You see he's about at 400. If he makes the cannon now and drones are being pulled, and he just loses 25, it would be nice for Zest. I don't think he's going to go for it. Yeah, he gets a pylon back at home.
Yeah, not going to chance it. Wants to get his wall set up. Of course, Life is a tricky enough of a player that when you try weird things against him, or when you try to be aggressive, it just never seems to work, because he's so familiar with all the crazy situations that you can get into in the early game stage of almost any matchup. Like, he just doesn't have a lot of vulnerabilities.
Yeah. Life getting scouted this early, it kind of spooked him, you know, so he went for the pull. And later on the third base, still no gas. It's funny to think how, when he plays this style with the 3 bases, he likes to delay his gas a lot, whereas usually, you know, he would always take it pretty early. Life is definitely one of those guys that with speedling can make a lot happen. So Zest, with this build, I mean, we saw him go Stargates earlier anyway, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same here. The thing is, if he makes it in his wall, it's just so easy to scout on this map. There is no ramp, to cover anything, so Life will even be able to see whether it's Phoenixes or not, which usually, when you go for Phoenixes, you don't care nearly as much, because you're going to reveal them quickly anyway by going and sniping the Overlords.
And these Zerglings are going around checking. I like that he tags the tower. Of course, you want to make sure nothing weird is hiding around.
He's getting a Stalker. Ooh.
Okay.
Maybe some Twilight DT here. Could
Yeah.
still be a Stargate. Yeah, I think he's going to be a Stargate. See, look, he's placed the probe already. Zest loves his Stargate,
He's
man.
going to build it right in front of him. I guess he can't do anything about
YOLO.
Overlord. Yeah. That Zergling sees it. Life knows what's going on. And Zest, I guess we've gotten this impression from him, or at least I've gotten this impression in this series from his games today. He's really not concerned about you knowing what he's up to, because he just, once he gets that death ball up that we saw him get in those 2 games, he's almost unstoppable.
It's really starting to remind me more and more of Rain, where like he has a main build that he uses and he just tries and execute it perfectly. Rain was like probably a lot more defensive in regards to that, and she's less, but it really reminds me of that. So second gateway is going to go down here for Zest. Still on chrono boosting out probes. Pretty sure we're going to see a Phoenix. He has a probe hidden on the map, so no. Okay, it's going to be an Oracle. And you see on the right-hand side, he has a probe.
Oracle 4 gate pressure. Maybe
Yeah.
5 gates, Todd. How many?
Wait.
Let's see, where's he going to stop?
So far, he's going to stop on 4 additional ones, so 5 in total. And you know what? This is a good way to mix it up, but that Zergling on the right-hand side, I think he's going to see the probe.
Oh, he's going up to 6 gates. He's blocking
and
off his own wall.
Yeah, he closed the wall. So Life, in the past, has defended perfectly against. Starts to roach round immediately, and I'm pretty sure he's going to start on pumping out Zerglings left and right. But this is a game where he doesn't have speed. He's not going to have speed to be able to help here.
The probe being found. This probe, he needs to protect this with his life. If he can't get a pylon up.
No pun intended.
Yeah. That wasn't. Nope. So he does get the pylon up, which is the most important part. Without this attack, there's no way it works.
Oh, the Oracle actually is going around sniping Zerglings here right now. The gateways have been morphed in. Zest knows there is no speed, so he's going to get Stalkers first, which are very good at kiting against anything, as long as there are no Zergling speed. 18 Zerglings on the way, speed not even halfway through done.
I love the reposition on this
Life is in
crawler.
trouble.
He doesn't want this to get too much closer to him. 6 roaches are in production. You said it, Todd. He needs as many units as possible, but with these Stalkers, as soon as he steps off creep, he can kite these slow roaches, so it's really a lot about that Zergling speed, too.
He keeps on getting more Stalkers. He's going to get some Zealots here in here as well. The Spore is about to fall, and there is an Oracle.
He's moving over another Spore Crawler. Life
think there is
really
too
doesn't
much.
want these air units to be a part of this battle.
Life has a lot of units coming in, but Zest is just so close to the hatchery that he's going to snap everything so fast. Time warp maybe before the Mothership Core dies. Yes, he goes for it. 20 more Zerglings on the way. Speed still not finished.
Yeah, he's done a really solid job with this attack so far, but Zest is looking to do a little bit more. Killing off the roaches is nice, but he can't use that Oracle that he built, which is also frustrating. He just has, it feels like these Stalkers are just incredibly too cost-effective for Zest. Life, if he can't get on top of these, now that his Zergling speed's done, there's so many weakened ones. Okay, now he's starting to pick a few off, but the Zealot Warpins, it has a very back-and-forth feeling to it, Todd.
Man, Life is in so much trouble. He's going to lose that third base. Any unit that comes out of it is going to die as well. He pulls back with the Queen now. There is no Queen injecting neither the main or the natural. Zest, I think, is going to move on to the grand finals here. After I called him the guy who reminds me of Rain, he just go for a starters build, which is basically the opposite.
Bringing out the aggression, man. He wanted to just close this series out. Life desperate to stay alive, starting a few more Spine Crawlers. These roaches not going to be able to hold on here with so many Zealots to soak up damage. Drones being pulled. These bad boys are not going to kill these Zealots, and Zest is going to clean house here on Overgrowth. He wants to go on to the grand finals. He wants to play his teammate Flash, and I think Zest is going to get exactly what he was looking for here as the last few units of life fall. The Oracle comes in. The Queen's half fallen. GG Zest will join his teammate Life in the grand finals of the Intel Extreme Masters Toronto.
His teammate Flash, yes.
Yes. It's going to be an awesome final. Of course, tough series. Life showed a very dominating opening to that match, I have to say. The first game really seemed to give me the impression that we were going to see Life have a really good shot in this, but then Zest just very quickly switched everything.
Zest had a lot of mistakes in game 1. I was really wondering after that if he might just fall apart, play like this the whole series, and he would just lose 0-3, but the opposite happened. that first loss woke him up. He played a lot better from there and dismantled Life completely in all different kind of games too. We had a very long game. We just had a very short game now with a pretty cheesy build, which this time was executed just well enough for him to win. MC tried a similar push against Life, failed. First tried it, failed very hard. Now Zest does it, and he does it just well enough to win and move on to the grand finals.
He certainly had to work for it, though. No easy feat, to say the least. Life, definitely looking forward to seeing him, though, come back, continue to try and fight. But for now, we're going to hear from Paul and the guys at the couch.
Thank you, Nathanis. Yes, welcome back to the couch, where Kalaris continues to astound the world with 100% predictions correct.
I'll just do that, and I'll be okay.
You even said 3-1, right?
Yep.
He did. 3-1. He's only actually got 2 scores wrong.
Before
And
we
all of the results right.
before we move on the discussion, finals.
Fine. Oh, whoa, wait a minute.
I want to know who
Already
wins.
putting him on the spot.
I want to
Okay,
know who
like
wins,
this.
Kalaris.
I like this.
No. Leave me to that later on. I have to muse and think a little bit.
Got to think. Allow the thoughts to flow.
Ponder.
Allow the pizza to come through your head. And yeah, okay. Terrific match. Very interesting. Top made the point very clearly. Lots of mistakes from Zest game 1.
Yeah, I thought Life was just going to crush him.
Yeah.
And it all turned around in game 2. It was kind of back and forth. Game 3, Life just looked lost. When it got to that end game versus end game composition, it was like Life could never really win a fight, and he didn't really know what he needed to be doing compared to how well Zest was playing.
Yeah, definitely game 3 looked a bit shell-shocked.
Yep.
And then 4, again, as Todd pointed out, a build in very similar vein to something that first tried against him and MC's tried, and both of those have failed. Why did Zest's work, do you think?
Not 100% sure, really, on that.
Just because he's Zest?
I mean, yeah, I guess so. I would like to actually go back and see how the creep spread had matured through that third base, because I'm not quite sure if he had extra creep aside from the basic creep of a hat tree, because creep spread forwards from there down that third path can be very, very helpful in a defense like that. So it'd be interesting to look back at that game and then previous games and see if there was a difference there.
Little preview we're going to go to Sean in a moment just for some analysis, but it's a KT Roster final. I said this back at the start of the quarterfinals. I thought it might have been one of those, those nice things to happen after the Pro League stuff and get the guys to fight each other rather than just fight together. And there doesn't seem to be any love lost between them. I'm sure they don't hate each other, but they're very clear, both of them, that this is an individual tournament. We heard, Flash said, there's no I in team. Yeah. Only an individual. So he's very clear that it's all about whatever he can do, and Zest likewise didn't really care whether Flash won or not.
Yep. Yeah. They're both going to bring some... I mean, so they're teammates, right? So they've been playing against each other. I hope we see some real mind games, some real chances for both of these players to play off the expectations of somebody that you know so well.
Yep.
Not just as a player, but as a person.
Yeah. Kalaris, good final, or is it not quite the final you would have liked in terms of matchup?
For me, I mean, I said yesterday Life Flash, and then for some reason this morning I had this weird change of heart where I was like, actually no, I should probably predict Zest to win this one instead of Life even. And now I'm happy with Zest Flash. They had to play each other in the Asian qualifier where Zest was victorious. So yeah, really, really good final for me.
Okay, let's go over to Apollo, who has got a little breakdown of exactly how Zest managed to win 3-1.
Hello, everyone, and we're going to look at that last game. Just have a quick recap while we get ready for the Zest interview in a quick second here. So let's jump into it immediately to kind of have a look closer and slower at how things actually unfolded. So from this point on, when we start to see Chronobus go into the cybernetic score here, this is where the aggression is... This is where the decision's already been made. We're going to see this big attack come out. And the problem is for Life, he doesn't really know what's going on until quite late here. He started his gas at a good time. He's going to get into gas. He has an overlord here. And as soon as this wall's created, we can pause it here for a quick second. Once he sees this wall, now he knows the attack is coming. And down on the other side, the attack is already happening. So unfortunately for him, he's not quite ready on time for this. The Roach Roar's only just started. Zergling Speed only just started. On the other side of the map now, around the third base, sorry. I would imagine on the third base here, because he's not ready and the attack is going to take place in a couple of seconds, I think the best way to deal with this in a better way is to not try to defend the third base. It's probably better to come back to 2 and then build up from 2 bases and kind of give yourself some time to get the units out. As you can see, the way that the units trickle out here is not the best way to be able to defend this. So if we fast forward it just a second here, we start to see the attack coming in. There's already 5 Stalkers before any units are there. You already start taking losses. The Spore Crawler was meant to help against the Oracle and the Mothership Core, but that gets picked off immediately here. Zest was too fast. Life wasn't ready on time. And I think maybe if he'd gone back to those 2 bases, he could have been ready on time, is what I think could have been the best option here for him. But unfortunately, as you can see, everything starts to go down, and it snowballs from this point on. He doesn't have enough units. He doesn't have enough units coming out. They're all coming from the main and the natural to try and get to the third. And unfortunately, he just couldn't hold on to that third base. And it was a funny way, because Zest played quite different in this game compared to the rest of the series, but this is where he thought the win would lie. And yes, that's where the win was to be found. All right, Red Eye is now standing by with Zest. Let's hear some words.
Thank you very much. Yes, back with Zest. Again, another congratulations in order. You've joined the winner's couch once more. And through to the grand final. Very well done indeed. Let's talk a little bit about the match first. In game 1, it would be fair to say that there were a few mistakes, especially by your very high standards. Why? Were you nervous? Were you worried? Were you concerned? What was going through your head in the first game?
주성우 선수의 명성과는 안 맞게 1경기에서는 실수가 너무 많이 있으셨는데 도대체 왜 실수가 그렇게 많은지 너무 떠신 건 혹시 아닌지 설명 좀 해주세요.
긴장이나 이런 거 한 건 없는데 그 처음에 질럿이 똑바로 못 세워놔가지고 저글링 난입하는 바람에 그때부터 좀 꼬여가지고 한 번 꼬이니까 계속 이렇게 꼬였던 것 같아요. 그 형님 처음에 꼬여가지고.
I wasn't particularly nervous going into the match. But that one time that I didn't really stop the Zergling run by properly, it just ended up kept getting snowballed on, and I just couldn't seem to be able to turn it around.
Okay, and then so not really a problem. So games 2 through to 4, what were your thoughts? What were your ideas around the builds, and how did you approach them?
1경기에서 실수로 이제 좀 패를 하시고 나서서 그다음 2, 3, 4경기 때는 이제 빌드라든지 그런 거 아주 깔끔하게 이기셨는데 그런 이제 빌드 준비라든지 이런 건 어떻게 하셨었는지 그리고 무슨 생각으로 그런 빌드를 꺼내셔서 다신 건지.
그냥 평소에 승현이랑 좀 많이 레더에서도 게임을 많이 해봐가지고 스타일을 좀 알고 있어가지고 예, 이렇게 하면 괜찮을 것 같아가지고 그렇게 했어. 평소에 레더에서 많이 해봐서.
So I actually meet Life on ladder pretty often, interestingly enough, and I didn't really have to study him before coming into this match. I kind of had a general idea of what he was going to do. So I prepped all my builds around how I've experienced him on ladder, and it worked out exactly. It did in the matches.
Nice. Well, that's always nice when that happens. Less study, more fun, I guess.
Yeah.
I've got a bit of a challenge for you, Zest. It's a challenge for both you and for Flash as well. We know that both of you play for KT Rolster, so we've decided that for today, KT stands for Kappa tie. Okay, and you guys are going to play in the final for the Kappa tie. The winner gets the tie. Is that okay?
Oh, nice. 그 이제 이영호 선수랑 이제 상금이랑 트로피 외로 한 가지 더 상을 걸고 게임을 하자는데 자, 두 분 다 이제 KT 롤스터 소속 선수인 만큼 여기 카파라는 게 뭔지 아세요? 이게 이제 뭐 농담이다 막 이래 이런 거거든. Yeah, there's no such thing as kappa.
Yeah.
그러면서
okay.
이제 저렇게 좀 뭐라 좀 살짝 병맛 같은 저런 웃음하는 저런 표정을 딱 하는 게 있는데 뭐라고 딱 치고 이제 저런 표정을 하는 게 있어요. 이제 저 넥타이를 레드아이가 직접 만들어서 공수를 해왔거든요. 승자한테 이걸 주는 걸로. 그리고 이제 KT를 카파 넥타이로 하는 걸로. 굿?
뭐 근데 그럼 저는 뭐 따로 할 거 없는 거예요?
굿?
네, 뭐 상관없는.
Okay, he's okay with that. All right. The fact that you had to explain exactly what Kappa was brilliant. Well done, James. So yes,
all Koreans know what
indeed,
Kappa is.
the whole of Korea now knows what Kappa means. Well done, Twitch chat. I can't see Twitch chat right now, but I can imagine there's some grey faces going down the page.
Lots.
Well done. Congratulations to Zest and congratulations to Flash. It is an all Kappa tie final at the Intel Extreme Masters Toronto. We'll see you in a few for the grand final.